Changing the oil on a 2025 Honda Pilot with a warm engine begins by locating the hood release lever near the area where the driver's left foot rests and pulling it out. Locate the yellow release lever under the hood to the right of the Honda emblem, push it rightward, and lift the hood. Free the hood prop from its receiver and swing it into the passenger side receiver in the hood. Looking at the engine compartment, here is the oil fill cap, here is the oil dipstick, and when looking down from this area, you'll be able to see and reach down to fetch the oil filter. Locate the front jack point just behind the front tire on each side of the vehicle. Place a rated floor jack underneath and raise the vehicle. Place a rated jack stand under this piece of exposed frame on both sides of the vehicle. Slowly lower the vehicle onto the jack stand and leave the floor jack in place for added safety. Here's a view of the vehicle lifted with both jack stands in place. In the engine compartment, locate the oil fill cap and turn it counterclockwise to loosen and remove it to increase the flow of the oil as it leaves the engine when draining. Rolling under the vehicle from the front, locate the oil drain bolt. The oil drain bolt is located near the exhaust flex Y pipe. Place a bucket that can accommodate at least 6 quarts of fluid just below the bolt. Break the torque on the bolt with a 17mm socket wrench. Loosen the nut further by hand until the bolt is about to come out. At this point, push on the bolt toward the oil pan slowly while turning it to avoid the bolt falling into the oil bucket. When the bolt and its crush washer is ready to be pulled away, do so quickly and allow the oil to drain from the vehicle. This took about 8 minutes during my change. While we wait for the engine oil to drain, discard the old crush washer and apply a new crush washer to your cleaned off engine drain bolt. Remove your new replacement oil filter from its packaging and inspect it for damage and to confirm the rubber gasket is intact. OEM filter part number is 15400-PLM-A02. Pour approximately 6 ounces of fresh 020 full synthetic oil into a painter's mixing cup and slowly pour an ounce at a time into the new oil filter. Pausing between each 1 ounce pour allows the oil to soak into the filter. Pouring oil into the filter in advance of installation is recommended to reduce the time it takes for the oil to properly circulate in the engine following the change and at first startup. Use some of the excess fresh oil around the rim of the filter and apply it on the rubber gasket to ensure a positive seal to the engine when installed. Return to the underside of the vehicle, and once the oil is no longer dripping rapidly, return the oil drain bolt with a fresh crush washer to the oil pan, turning it clockwise to tighten. Torque the oil drain bolt with the crush washer installed to 30 foot-pounds. Though not required, I've removed the front right passenger tire to provide the best view of the old oil filter here. This is what we'll remove at every oil change. To provide the best access to the oil filter, you will want to remove the 2 push rivets here that secure this plastic cover in place. Use a rivet removal tool or a flathead screwdriver to pull the center of the rivets outwards and then pull the rivets out by hand. Tuck the cover inward. It should stay in place without any additional effort required. Here is the old oil filter we will remove and the area below that we will need to install our flexible funnel into. Place a flexible funnel just below the filter. I recommend, as silly as it may seem, placing a piece of duct tape or packing tape at the base of the funnel and adhere the other side of the tape to the lower control arm. The tape will keep the funnel in place and avoid it falling while we pull the oil filter. Place the bucket to catch the draining oil at the end of the funnel. Turn the oil filter counterclockwise to loosen and remove it. Allow the old oil to drain from the vehicle and dump out the excess oil from the old filter into your bucket. If your filter is on too tight to loosen by hand, you can use a filter removal tool like this 3-jaw adjustable oil wrench that I use in sticky situations. Once the oil has drained, wipe around the face of the area where the oil filter sat to clean it of dirt and gunk. Be sure to double check that the old oil filter's rubber gasket is still not present here. Lower the new oil filter that is partially filled with 020 full synthetic oil and hand thread it clockwise to tighten it to the oil filter feed pipe. Torque the filter to 9 foot-pounds. Remove the tape on the flexible funnel and then the funnel. Move the plastic cover back into place and move the oil bucket out of the way. Return and secure both push rivets. Dad tugs to confirm it ain't going anywhere are welcome, and if you took your wheel off, put it back on and torque the lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds. Return to the engine compartment and locate the oil fill port. Place a long neck funnel into the oil fill port. Pour the remainder of the quart or 5-quart jug you are using into the engine, minus the 6 ounces we poured into the oil filter. The 2025 Honda Pilot requires 5.8 quarts of oil when changing the oil and filter together, and for the cost, I recommend always changing the filter when replacing the oil. There is great debate on when to change the oil, whether to follow the maintenance minder or to change in advance based on mileage interval. I will not let the vehicle operate with the same oil for greater than 7,500 miles. The first oil change in a brand new engine should occur within the first 1,000 miles. There's enough information online to indicate this aids in flushing break-in metals in the engine, and there is no longer break-in oil shipped in vehicles. With all that noise out of the way, use a painter's mixing cup to measure out the remaining 0.8 quarts we need, which translate to 25.6 fluid ounces. Try not to make a mess like me. Pour the 25.6 fluid ounces into the funnel and let it completely drain. With a paper towel at the base of the funnel to prevent dripping, remove the funnel. Return the oil fill cap and hand tighten this until it is secure. Please responsibly dispose of your used oil at your local auto parts store and take advantage of the old oil containers. Also, avoid spilling it everywhere, like me. At every oil change, effectively 7,500 miles, unless you're using a lifetime filter that can be cleaned and reused, replace your engine air filter. The air filter is stored under this cover that is secured by 3 8mm bolts that cannot be fully removed from the cover. Loosen these and make sure they are pulled up as high as they can go. Lift the cover and pull it towards you. Lift up and remove the old air filter. Wipe the area under the air filter with a paper towel dampened with Windex to avoid dirt buildup. Pay attention to the air filter markings to indicate which side is up and should point toward the passenger compartment as indicated by the rear marking here. Set the filter into place. Take note of these 3 rectangular receivers and this oval intake here. If you look on the cover, these are the 3 rectangles and this is the oval that will need to align when reinstalling. Reinstall the cover. Make sure the cover sits behind these tabs here and screw in the 8mm bolts. Remove the hood prop from the receiver in the hood, lower it into the lower receiver, close the hood, and push on the hood to make sure it is fully latched. Slightly lift the vehicle with the floor jack, remove the jack stand, and lower the vehicle completely. Hop into the vehicle with the key fob and start the engine. Allow the engine to run for at least 3 minutes and watch the engine RPMs. The RPMs should reach this level when the engine has cycled the oil at least once through the engine. Lastly, resetting the maintenance minder oil life is done through the center console. Locate Vehicle Settings, swipe to locate Maintenance Info, push on Select Reset Items. Here you can select A, Engine Oil, and then press reset. I am not resetting mine as the dealership still owes me a change and they won't do so until the vehicle shows that the engine oil life is exhausted. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please consider supporting my channel through the links below.